Are three multi-award-winning actors who between them have played a huge variety of roles, everything from Eamon de Valera to Auntie Petunia in Harry Potter, and from Margaret Thatcher to the evil Hans Gruber in Die Hard. They have come together to star in a new production of John Gabriel Borkman in the Abbey Theatre as part of the Ulster Bank Dublin Theatre Festival. So would you welcome please Fiona Shaw, Alan Rickman and Lindsay Duncan. You're exceedingly welcome to our little programme. Thanks for making the effort.
Not so little.
No, chairs are big, I suppose. Alan, I want to begin with you just briefly, because last week we were talking at length about Mr. Michael Collins, a figure you'll be familiar with from previous work. And, of course, you famously played Eamon de Valera in the movie of Michael Collins. And I'm curious to know, did you enjoy playing such an interesting figure in Irish history?
Well, daunting would be the word. I mean, Neil Jordan, perhaps in wisdom, gave me a first scene which was to throw me in front of 5,000 Dubliners with no rehearsal.
Yes.
And 7 cameras, and I think he knew there was no point in a rehearsal because those 5,000 people are not going to come back on day 2 when they realise how boring filming can be. Yes. But no, for a mostly English person to play a figure like that was pretty terrifying. But I did enjoy it in the end, yeah, very much. I mean,
the likeness was quite good. We have a nice shot of you here. It's
worryingly good.
Yeah, it's worryingly good, it has to be said. But did you, for example, did you find yourself feeling in any way sympathetic towards him as a historical figure? Did you find yourself having to defend him when people would say to him, "Oh, I'm a Collins man and you're useless"? And
well, there was a lot of that, but of course, you can't judge a character you play. You just got to play them. And if I was pushed in any direction, it was perhaps after at the read-through when Neil came up to me and said, "So do you hate him yet?"
Ah.
So that made me put on boxing gloves on behalf of him. And knowing, you know, that in that crowd of 5,000 Dubliners, half of them adored him and half of them hated him.
Yeah, exactly, so. And that's what it was all about. Fiona, of course, as a Cork woman, you would be what, a Collins sort of
pretty well. He was a big hero for Cork and the whole country, of course, but on the opposite side, sadly.
So you had your interest in that. Lindsay, you played a very famous and equally, I suppose, divisive figure, if I may say so, Margaret Thatcher.
I did,
was that for you as an actress, was it pleasure or pain?
Well, but being asked to play her was painful. I was mildly appalled. Oh,
Why?
God.
Why?
Well, because I knew I couldn't say no. I mean, it's just not the sort of job you can turn down. Yeah. But, you know, because of all the baggage that a public figure carries, especially someone as divisive as Thatcher, you know that you're putting yourself in the firing line. People will have really strong opinions. And I did, because I was reported in the press, much to the BBC's irritation, as having loathed Margaret Thatcher for her politics. I had a letter, a furious letter from a man who suggested that perhaps I hand over my fee because it was wrong for me to play this woman, having said I wasn't too keen on her. Yeah. And I thought, this is a very confused man. Yeah. You know, I'm an actress. And
the lightness, I'm glad to say, is... I don't know how to approach the lightness question. Alan, how would you describe the lightness? Yeah, that is you. I mean, the hair's right.
I'd say that's flattering.
Yeah, thank you for rescuing that situation.
That's me at my warmest.
Yeah, that's on the good day, pre-poll tax, yeah. Fiona, you play, of course, I suppose, Aunt Petunia is the figure a lot of people will see, particularly younger ones will be looking at going, I know her from. Do you get, because you play such serious roles in theatre, and the next minute you seem to be having a lot of fun with that. Is it fun, or is it something you...
It was great fun. I mean, I went onto the Harry Potter film, you know, expecting huge special effects. And when we first started, there were a lot of owls had to look in the window at Aunt Petunia. And the owls kept looking at the camera. So in order to make the owls look at me, they hung mice from my apron. So I thought maybe you could do that with actors, so they get them fixated. So they hung these dead mice on my apron, and I realised special effects were not everything that they were cracked up to be. I was the special effect.
Of course, Harry Potter, if I may mention, Alan, Severus Snape is one of those figures who is people kind of think because you look rather mean in the film, you aren't really a baddie at all. But the perception is there that you might be such. Does that bother you?
No.
No, I don't mind. And I'm very wary of talking about it because I know from experience that there are kids who are on book 4 and kids of all ages.
Yeah. But variety has a...
You know, the story doesn't work its way out until right at the end.
Yeah.
So.
Is it fun to play him, or is it a trickier role? Or
I love it. Yeah, I have a good time. It's a shame that I never get a scene with Aunt Petunia, but
No.
I think we're marriage
that
made
now.
in heaven, aren't we, really?
Let's have a look at you in action in Harry Potter.
Feeling sentimental?
That's private.
Not to me. And not to the Dark Lord if you don't improve. Every memory he has access to is a weapon he can use against you. You won't last 2 seconds if he invades your mind. You're just like your father. Lazy, arrogant.
Don't say a word against my father.
Weak.
I'm not weak.
Then prove it. Control your emotions. Discipline your mind. Legilimate.
Fun. Looks like fun. Not so long ago, Lindsay, I went to see Alice in Wonderland, and you figured there, again, working with Tim Burton. Did you enjoy that experience? Is he somebody you like to work with?
I loved it. I was so flattered to be asked to do anything in a Tim Burton film. I'm a real fan of his work, and I just admire him for being able to take that original mind and actually make a fantastic career out of it, because he's so true to himself. And he's such a lovely man. I was, you know, this tiny bit called the above ground before Alice goes down the rabbit hole. And he just made all of us feel as if we were responsible for launching the film, which wasn't true at all.
But you didn't get to hang out with Johnny Depp then, I suppose, because he was down under the ground, wasn't he? Through the down the rabbit hole.
Don't break my heart.
Are we all really?
It's painful, yeah.
Yeah, I think he has quite a lot of dedicated fans that hang around.
I wonder why.
Well, you tell me now. If you couldn't get near him, I don't know if anyone else is going to. Was Die Hard really your first film?
It was, yeah. I was cheap.
At the time? What took you so long to... I mean, I was surprised to hear that was your first film, because I would have thought you were acting a long time before that.
I don't know. Films are a strange thing, you know. They come up and bite you when you least expect it, or you, as a young actor, can become a movie star at 18 years old. It's a strange medium that kind of has a wandering spotlight and finger and says you now, or you 25 years. Or...
So just fate and chance, I suppose, more than anything else. Fiona, you're, 25 years since you've all worked together, is that right?
Yes.
So you worked, what was the first time then?
Well, Alan and I first worked together on As You Like It at the Royal Shakespeare Company. And in the same season, Lindsay and Alan were in Les Liaisons Dangereuses, in which I played Madame de Volanges, which is a much smaller part. I just joined the RC, and these two were stellar even then.
Yes, and how's it going now, 25 years later? You're obviously all a tiny bit older, but not looking it, obviously.
No, obviously.
Obviously.
We haven't worked together since, but we meet, of course, from time to time since, so we've kept an eye on each other's ageing.
Good. John Gabriel Borkman, what can we expect from this play? Does anyone
Well, it's a fantastic play. I mean, I was thrilled when I was asked to join these two, in part because of that 25 years. I thought maybe it was time that we ought to get back together again. So we're just about to embark on really, I think, 3 months of having a great time together. But the play itself is fantastic, wonderfully pertinent, of course, as it's about a banker who has just been let out of prison.
The banker went to prison?
He went to prison.
Not in this country.
No,
wouldn't happen.
And,
that's what we call fiction.
It is. Well, it might signal a few good ideas to the nation about what you might do with people who have great ideas that don't necessarily come off. And,
So tell us about the banker in prison.
Well, I guess who's playing the banker in prison.
No, let me guess.
Yeah. And Lindsay and I play one his mistress and one his wife, but
Yes.
he doesn't really talk to either of us, hasn't spoken to us for 15 years, so...
Can we get a shot of Alan Rickman's grin, please? Go on.
Play
sorry.
about has-beens, in a way, about
Yeah.
people who were and who are no longer really able to do any good. So beware
Again,
bankers.
fiction.
Again, fiction.
Are you enjoying each other's company, Lindsay, in this production?
are,
Are you getting on each other's nerves? Alan, are you keeping control of the situation?
You must be
Oh,
joking.
he's got no hope.
No, I'm happily sitting in the middle.
Yeah. Are you getting much attention on the streets? Because you'd be very recognisable for different people. You give people, they either want to...
We're too trapped in the rehearsal room,
Are you?
frankly. Yeah, I mean, we finished a couple of hours before we came here tonight, and we'll be back there tomorrow morning. So
it's all
it's
kind
busy
of
days.
It's hectic. And Tim Robbins is coming on a little later on. I think he was telling me earlier on, he spoke very highly of you, and obviously you're friends.
We had a good time. Yeah, we did a film of his that he directed called Bob Roberts.
Yeah.
Again, couldn't happen possibly in the world of corrupt American presidents.
Yeah,
so.
who'd have thought? So it's back to more fiction anyway, but you'll probably catch up with him a little later on. John Gabriel Borkman's in the Abbey, October 6th to the 20th of November. Alan Rickman, Fiona Shaw, Lindsay Duncan. Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's time for our competition for you at home.